sorry about that. It is part of the Pure Soul membership plan. But what I realized today as people were joining is that I must have sent that out as a blast to everybody on my email list. So if you are not a Pure Soul member that's paying a monthly subscription, it's totally fine. I welcome you to participate and join us today. What I like to do every month in the membership is get together with the people that have subscribed to the website and just get together and talk for an hour and answer any questions that you have that are personal questions or questions that regarding anything spiritual. So it's just the Ask Nikki session basically is what today is about. But I do want the people that are not subscribers to the membership to stick around and join us today. And if you have questions, please feel free to wave at me or something so I know that you are connecting with me. I don't see everybody on the video, and that's fine. I do want to let you know, though, that this is being recorded. And what I do is every month when this session is complete, I post it on the members area of the website so that if you missed it, you can still come and see what was discussed and what we talked about. So I don't see anybody else joining right now, so we can go ahead and begin. And what I like to do is just kind of put it out there to you guys, and whoever wants to begin can begin with any questions about anything. I think that's all I should say. There is no question off limits. If you don't want to ask your question out loud, then you can feel free to text it or in the chat for Zoom, and my daughter will be receiving those and taking care of that part of that for me. So, okay, I will turn it over to you guys. Welcome, and what are your questions today? Oh, nobody's gonna start.
Hi, Nick. I don't think you can see me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi, it's Pam. Could you go ahead and hello, everybody. Sorry I can't be on video. I'm in the car.
Okay.
But I didn't want to miss this. And so my question is can your soul job change?
Yes, it can. But so let me just side note this. Last time, Pam is my friend. I've known her for like 30 years in my life. She's like my sister. So a lot of times if there's no questions coming, I'll ask her. I'm like, could you just have a question for me in case nobody does, so we could just kind of get things going. And so that's a good question, Pam. But the last time she asked a question, I talked for about 15 minutes. And when I was done with our session, I felt bad. I was like, oh, I used up 15 minutes to talk about that one thing. And my grandma in heaven said to me, just answer the question. You don't have to give them the whole story. So I'm going to answer her question in a concise manner. But if you want more information about it, then just let me know and I can expand on it and I can talk more about it. But in a nutshell, yes, your soul job can change. We have a human job or a job on earth that is derived on earth by our circumstances in life. That's like what our purpose is. What is our purpose on this earth? We can find our purpose by discovering what our soul or what our humanity was conditioned to do here. So everybody has that. It's called our state of being. And I offer a workshop on state of being. But if you want to discover that, that's one job that you have, and that's your purpose on earth. But on top of that, we also have a soul job. And that's what our spirit does using our human body. So everybody comes to earth with a soul job, which is different than your purpose. Your purpose and your soul job, they're not usually the same, although they work together. So everybody comes with a soul job. And that's something that we have to learn about ourselves, because the soul job that we do for other people, it's very difficult for us to do it for ourselves. Okay, so that's why it's good to learn about it. The key thing that allows your soul job to change, it doesn't really change, but you could add on a soul job. So some of the soul jobs that I see in people are truth speakers. rescuers, validators, peacemakers, martyrs, empaths. So there's quite a few jobs that we come here to do, that our soul comes here to do, that our soul uses our body in order to do that. So when you learn about your soul job, you get really good at it and you really start to apply it to yourself. Once you learn about it and you start to apply it to yourself, then it's not a challenge for you. So now you're receiving the same soul gift that you're doing for others. You're actually receiving it for yourself too, because you know how to give it to yourself. Once you know how to give it to yourself, now you open yourself up to learning a new job. It's like if you go to college and you master something and you go back for further education, that's kind of the same thing. And that is how your soul job can change. Although keep in mind, it doesn't change. You just add on another soul job. So you do the one you came here to do, but then also you may learn more in your journey of spirit, human, and that's how you would end up having a changed type of soul job. I could literally talk about that for like 100 hours.
That's leads into my next question, Nikki, is
okay.
So coming out of the pandemic, is your soul job connected to, a crossroad in your life? So I feel like I'm at a crossroad in my life of what to do, like a purpose. Is it connected to your soul job then too? And is the pandemic have anything to do with that, or it just feels things shifting?
So the pandemic, the way that it benefited us is that we didn't have the validation from the outside world that we normally receive. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we do things in the world that enhance what our purpose is. The world kind of teaches us what is our purpose. Our soul job, for example, no, that's not a good way to explain it. What the pandemic did for us is remove the ability to have the outside world validation, which means that all validation had to come from within ourselves, right? We couldn't call our friend and go out because we're bored. We had to learn how to sit with ourselves. And in that sitting and in all of that experience for the last year, we have had to look in our own individual mirror. So a lot of people have changed their career because they realize that they're spending so much effort and so much of their experience here on earth and full dedication of that it's removing a part of their life that they didn't even remember about until they had to sit home for a year. Sometimes people, we get involved in relationships and we depend on the people in those relationships to tell us that we're worthy, but we didn't get that. We didn't get to hear that we were worthy. So the worthiness had to be found inside of ourselves. And what that does in that type of mirroring between the body and the soul is it helps you come closer to the relationship that you have with your own spirit. And it starts to make it so that your spirit self and your human self, they can't be separate anymore. They have to kind of come together. When those two sides of yourself come together in that type of reflection, yeah, your human life changes. Your ideas change. You want to do something different. You want to connect with different people because you've kind of taken this year to filter out everything that doesn't serve you. So that is why you could be feeling a sense of change. I went to dinner this weekend and one of the places I went was closed and there was a sign on the door that was like, we are short on staff, really sorry, come back on Monday, basically because the people that were working there, they have found other things that they're really enjoying doing now. So there's been a lot of change. I know people, we look at this pandemic and we think, oh my God, this horrible thing happened, and it did, and it is horrible, but God works in every difficult experience in our life. Like you could go through a difficult experience and the world went through a difficult experience, but in that experience, God's hands, they're in there and they're doing something for you. And so our challenge during this time was to figure out, what is he doing for us? Why am I sitting home? What am I learning from this? How did I find myself? And everything now is starting to shift in the direction of people finding parts of themselves that they had put away a long time ago. And nobody is learning anything different. Nothing, everything you're discovering, I don't even know if you want to call it a discovery. It's a memory. It's a remembrance of who you truly are, because the pandemic allowed us to take other things away. Does that answer your question okay, Kim?
Yep, that did it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you mentioned that you're at a crossroads. Just today, I have this overwhelming sense that the seasons are changing. You know, I don't know what that is. It's like, why do I keep feeling this? Is it stuff that's just going on in my life, or is there just something more intuitive happening there?
When you say you feel like the seasons are changing, what do you mean, and how did you receive that? Did you literally have something where your mind and words and phrases, you heard that, you thought that in words and phrases, like the seasons are changing? Or did you have a feeling and that's how you translated that feeling into those words?
Yeah, I'm not a very good word person, but I felt it in my chest, which of course I usually don't feel things in my chest. Unless it's my grandma, who's my guardian angel of intuition, and that's where she goes. But it reminded me, I don't know, I was listening to not the crickets, but the cicadas or whatever. And it felt like 10 or 12 years ago when my daughter, the summer before she was going off to college. And I remember thinking, oh, this is so beautiful. This is precious. It's changing. It'll never be the same. And I thought, well, is it the season? Something's changed. There's this change going on, and nothing personal with me. Well, there's always something personal with me, but I mean, nothing that I could point my finger on it. It was just this really weird feeling of the seasons are changing or something's changing. And I don't know what it is,
And there are so many people that I've been talking to have been experiencing that feeling of change. And that's what happened because of the pandemic. Everything is changing. The way we see things, feel about things, interact with other people, everything is changing. It was just interesting. The reason I asked you that question about the 4 seasons changing, or how you came to that translation from that feeling in your heart. Because when you did that, your spirit kind of came toward my spirit and said, look at that, the 4 seasons is what she said. And I think that that's interesting. And I know I'm supposed to talk about that in some sense, but when you said it, the book that came to my mind was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I think it was The Alchemist. That's the one. Or maybe it was The Road to Santiago or something like that. But one of the things that, and that book is about this kid who has this spiritual journey, and he has to take a literal physical walk. He's walking on his journey. And the alchemist had told him, when you can make the elements of the earth, when you can make the seasons obey you, when you can make the air do what you want, or the rain do what you want. When you said the 4 seasons, what that showed me is that the change that we're feeling is in our different energies of our chakra system, like breath, air would be breath, and then matter for root. And I have to figure out how I'm supposed to express this because it's all in my brain, but I don't know how to get the words out. It's like, it's too big of a concept actually, but let me see if it'll just come. So when you said the 4 seasons, or the seasons were changing, I'm supposed to let everybody know that they're supposed to begin those changes in different chakras. So the first change would be in the heart chakra. That was the year of our pandemic, where we had to really get connected to ourselves and reflect. The next thing down is our solar plexus. So this is where we have a redefinition, a little bit of a change of how we express ourselves, or how we define ourselves in a job or in a career or in our everyday life. The next one down is our sacral energy, and that's relationships. So that means that the change that's happening in that chakra is about coming into a different relationship with yourself. And in that relationship, that's how you have a different type or a change relationship with others. And then putting all of that into practice in the root chakra. So when you said the seasons are changing. When your spirit came toward mine, she literally like connected with me. And I swear, like both of us went into my heart, into my stomach, into my abdomen, into the base of the spine, and then everything grounded. So that's actually what happened when you said that. So as I don't know if that answers your question in a way, that it's not a change that you're looking to see outside until you see it inside first. And that might be why sometimes some of us in this change and these things that are changing, we can't really grasp where it's supposed to be because we haven't looked at this part yet. And that would be matching the inside energy with the outside experiences. Does that make any sense to anybody? I hope so. It makes sense in my brain.
So I'm trying to, I need to change my inside energy.
No, and that's good. Thank you for asking that, because when we're looking at that change, let's say before the pandemic, I felt in my heart this particular way about things. But now that the pandemic happened, now my heart doesn't really feel like that. Like I'm not real sure, that doesn't really match me and my emotion anymore. And then before the pandemic, I had certain opinions. I thought I was a certain way because our solar plexus is in the stomach. So I thought I was this way. I thought I would always be doing this for the rest of my life. And look, in this last year, now that doesn't really match me anymore. I don't know if I really want to do that for a living, right? I don't really align with that anymore. You're also going to notice in the sacral energy, which is relationships with ourselves and others, that those relationships over the last year has changed as well. And so we recognize those changes. And when we come out of the pandemic at the root energy, things are different. And we're not sure how to process those. But what your spirit is letting me know, actually, Sue, is that that's what's supposed to be happening right now. So because that's happening within us, that's giving us the questions about the outside. But all we have to do to settle what that is look at that situation and say, what would I have? What would be my feeling last year? What do I think about it now, today? Because we've all been through something that's been very limiting. And in this year, we've all tried to remove our limitation. And we're doing that in our everyday life. And like it or not, what we do here on earth does affect the body-soul relationship. So we're also looking to remove limitation within our own soul. And I think that's what you're referencing, or that's what I understand your spirit is referencing.
So I'm probably feeling that I'm removing limitations and I'm changing and I'm feeling this change.
You are.
Okay. I think I know the change. I think it has to do with the relationship, but okay.
And it is, when we step through those are major chakras, right? Our everyday is our root chakra, our relationships is our sacral, our self-identification is our solar plexus. Those are our earth energies. Our soul energies are our throat, our third eye, and our crown. But when we combine our earth energies with our spirit energies, where do they hook up? Where do they meet? And they meet in the heart. And over the last year, most people have been really in that point of reflection. So their energies that have been working are their spirit energies, third eye, crown, throat. So that's all the things we've been thinking about the last year. But now in the heart is where we begin. Okay, what do we know now? What did we know then? How does that match? Now, what do I think? Because in this year, that's what we're doing. We're taking the spirit energies, our spirit information that we've kind of gathered over the last year, and we're trying to now place that into our humanity. And does it match? Does it still match? And some things, a lot of people are finding that a lot of things no longer match.
Right.
We realize that what we were seeking from those people or those situations we found a different kind of validation and from a different place within ourselves. So some of those experiences kind of are drifting away from us.
Well, that's an excellent explanation. That helps a lot for me to understand that.
Your spirit is actually the one that answered the question. I was just having a hard time trying to discern it because you humanly asked it, but your spirit had the answer for it. So literally, like, you came out of my screen and your spirit and my spirit met, and then that combination went into me. So now I'm trying to figure out, like, what is your spirit talking about, and trying to place it in my own head. So she showed me all these like really fast visions, but I think we got there. I think we got the way. So really that answer came from your spirit. I was just trying to translate it when your spirit and my spirit got together. So thank you, Sue.
Well, thank you.
So,
Thank you. The next question for next month is, how do we hear our spirit? Oh, just go ahead.
oh
Somebody
yeah,
else asked a question.
that'll be fun. That'll actually be very fun. We could definitely do that.
Yeah.
And talk about that today or then, whenever you guys want. So does anybody have any questions? Hi, Christine. It's nice to see you. I see you there. I saw your baby there. So just hi. So
I'll ask a question.
okay.
Okay, so I remember last time we touched base about how I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would see kind of like my own soul kind of trying to communicate with me. I haven't had that happen ever since then, but I've known things more now.
Yeah,
since
that's
then.
awesome. No, that's awesome. That is
It's
so
not
awesome.
happened. I'm sorry, I have a little toddler there.
That's okay. I have 10 dogs. Don't even worry about it.
Sorry. It's not happened to me again. I was like kind of waiting for it. I'm like, did I sabotage myself? Like,
No.
why
Let
am
me
I not getting these messages anymore?
Okay. If your little one needs to be with you, that doesn't bother me at all. I love all babies anytime. But
He'll be quiet now.
But basically what's happening is that, hi, sweetheart, how are you? Oh my God, hello. Oh my gosh, I'm in love right now. Basically what happened is, before, when you saw that outside of yourself, right? You saw your soul outside of yourself. That means that when she was trying to connect with you, you weren't hearing her. She was already in you, right? Your soul and your body, that's one union in there. Sometimes when we can't listen to it, or we're not paying attention, or we're not getting those inner guidance messages that our spirit really wants us to get, we could have an experience like you had. And then once that happens, when we talked about it, so now your spirit has no need to be outside of you. She's within you. So your intuition.
Yeah, because I'm just knowing things that I'm like,
yes.
whoa.
Yeah,
left
no,
and
that's
right.
great.
Like, I don't have to question it. Ooh, sorry.
Yeah, but that's great, because what that really means is that you're not in separation from yourself to have that sense of knowing. You don't need the big sign. You have that sense of knowing, and that is how it feels with our spirit. So that is fantastic.
Okay.
That it's not like that anymore.
No, I haven't had it, and it was like every
your,
night.
Yeah, now your human consciousness and your spirit consciousness are not having to battle for the use of your body. They're communicating perfectly fine.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Great. Great question too. Great.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
My name is an iPad. It's Valerie.
Hi, iPad Valerie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I have a question. I've always been a prophetic dreamer since the time I was a little girl. My mother actually thought I made my dreams up because they were so vivid and colorful.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got older, she realized I was predicting things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had it my whole life until I started opening up my crown chakra in the third eye.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be able to communicate with all my deceased close loved ones. And ever since I opened up that crown chakra, or the third eye, at least that's what I've been working on. I don't dream like I used to. Why is that?
That is because the dream state, when we are dreaming, hello, welcome. When we are dreaming, our human consciousness is asleep. So it cannot interfere. There's no interference. Kind of like the sun and the moon, you know, they cross places. Think of your spirit brain and your human brain. When you're awake during the day, your human brain is more dominant, your spirit brain is quieter. When you go to sleep at night, you transfer that control. Now that you've transferred the control, your human self cannot interrupt you or bother you or anything. So basically, because you're sleeping, you get all the information. Now you wake up and you're going to balance, you're going to open up and you're going to try to receive messages. Once you open up those spirit energies, your human energies, your earth energies, your lower chakras, they're not involved in that communication anymore. And you no longer have to be asleep in order to quiet down your own humanity. So basically, you're just basically telling your spirit, okay, you can talk now. And me, the human being, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to let you do that. I'm not going to interfere. That's what's happening. And that's why you don't get the dreams anymore, because you're doing it while you're awake. There's no need to bother you in your dream. There's no need to bother you now while you're sleeping.
Okay. Thank you. That clears it up, because it's like it disappeared. Once in a while I'll get one, but not like before. I mean, now it's, from that.
Yep. That's normal. That's great.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Nobody.
Nikki,
Yes.
what happens after we die? Do we go straight to heaven? And if so, what is heaven like?
It's different for everyone, actually. So I had a lot of people in heaven show me many different things about their process of transitioning from earth to heaven. One gentleman showed me that it was as if he took off a winter coat and then he was free. Another person, and this is the sensations that they were sharing with me. Another person told me that it was as if they were swimming in a pool, going from one side of the pool to the other, and that their first breath in heaven felt like when you come out of a pool after you've been underwater swimming and trying to get from one end to the other, and that heaven felt like coming up out of the pool and catching that fresh breath of air. Another person in heaven told me that when we witness the last breath of our loved ones, we are actually witnessing their first heaven breath. And so while we're looking at that as so sad for us to see them take that last breath, on their end, it's like coming up out of the pool. It's their first like real breath of air. And they describe the experience of earth like swimming underwater. And that when you go to heaven, you're no longer under the water. So there's this release of like this pressure or something, like this holding on till you can get to the other end. And I almost feel like the way they've explained it is like we're little baby souls, and we're going to go to earth and we jump in this pool and we're just swimming to get to the other side until we can come up out of the pool. Like this is earth. And so many people have very different experiences. But basically, when we pass, our soul transcends above our body. But it's not a place that we don't visit while we have a full life experience. And our soul just kind of transcends and takes off our human body, but we are still conscious. And some people have experiences where they, in the Bible, it says that in order to get into the kingdom of heaven, you must become like small children. And what that means is that when we enter into the kingdom of heaven, we find that child innocence that we come here with. That's how we get back in. And so everybody's transition is going to be a little bit different of an experience when they come up out of the physical body, because let's say there's somebody who had a real strong ego. Let's say they were very narcissistic. When they come up out of the human self, which is actually a condition here on earth, narcissism, they will have this incredible sense of relief, and they will see how their human experience didn't align so well with who their soul is. So their transition might take a little bit more time because that has to break itself away from the physical body and from the consciousness. So some people, when they transition to heaven, they have a huge moment of awakening. Like they just are like, oh my God, I had no idea. I'm going to go back and try it again. Like they just have this huge spiritual awakening because their human self is not clouding any of that soul expression. Some people, the minute they transcend, they're already there. They're like walking into a party, their relatives are there, and it's just glorious. And these are people that, you know, you've heard the expression like die before you die. And that's where the ego is, where the way you live your life is not based on the things you learned on earth, but the inner prompting of your own soul. And people that live in expression like that, well, they just kind of walk right in and no problem. Some people go to sleep at night here on earth, and when they stretch in the morning, they realize that they're in heaven. So some people are just wake up there. Some people, after they pass, they don't go right away. They maybe like my mom. When my mom was passing away, her spirit was already transcended above her body. But she went out in the hallway and kept looking down the hallway. And I was like, why are you looking down the hallway? And she was waiting for my Auntie Kay to get to the hospital. So I could see in her soul that she was kind of hanging around because she was waiting for something. And so sometimes they'll make sure that, you know, if you're driving home and you find out your mom or dad passed away, and they don't want you to get that information while you're driving in the car. So they may not really leave their body 100%, just kind of step out a little bit and accompany you until you're with someplace safe and good and supported, and then they'll transition. So oftentimes they'll stop in and say hello to people. I'm sure you've heard stories where somebody passed away and the person at home didn't know they passed away, but they woke up in the middle of the night and they swear they thought they heard that person talking. And then tomorrow morning they get a call that says your loved one passed away. So they don't always go as quickly as we think. And everybody's experience is truly dependent upon the relationship that they have with their own soul, right? And that's why in my practice, that's what I try to teach people, like listen to your soul and learn what that voice is, because that's the part of you that's going to heaven. And you don't want to have a lot of earthly conditioning baggage that weighs on you, because that's going to take a lot to get off, right? And that's where that die before you die is, so that you can release those conditionings and be able to not argue with your own spirit, which we do every day. I don't know if that answered your question, but that answered part of it. The other part of it that I think you mentioned is, what is heaven like? Mm-hmm. Heaven is like whatever you want it to be. One guy said the beer is always cold here. I love it. Another, one lady showed me that she was like on an ocean and she had like a beach house and it was like her favorite thing. A lot of people in heaven, when I ask if they'll show me their heaven, they show me earth. So I had this younger woman call me because her mom had passed away. I'm gonna cry. I'm totally gonna cry. I don't want to cry. But she was like, well, what does my mom's heaven look like? She said, you know, she was young. She was only like 16. And she's like, well, what is it like for my mom in heaven? And so her mom shows me these series of visions. And one is she got her nails done. So she went and she got her nails done. The next one was she got her hair done. And then she went and she got this really pretty dress, and she was showing me this really beautiful dress. So the mom is showing me all of these things. And the daughter says, that's so weird that you just said that. And I was like, well, why? Your mom likes to do girly stuff. She goes, because yesterday I'm getting ready for prom on Friday. So I went to get my nails done, my hair done. Oh my God. I went to get my nails done, my hair done, and I went to get my dress. And I was like, oh my God. And the question we asked her mom is, what is your heaven like? What is your heaven like? And her heaven was hanging out with her daughter to like go shopping for prom. I'm sorry, you guys.
Well, that's amazing. That's so interesting.
You know, so everybody's experience really is unique to what is it that fills them on this earth? What is it about their life that makes their soul and their body see each other? Like, what is it on earth that brings them close to God, close to the part that they are in their eternal self? And for this mom, it was getting ready for prom with her daughter. And when she told me, and I can't even talk about it, see, I get all choked up because that is one of those readings that I had that just like it still stays with me. This was about a year ago, but it still stays with me. And so that's another way that people do express heaven to me. And some people in heaven express that they visit the past. They learn about their past lives. They'll tell me things in heaven like, did you know that my daughter from this lifetime was literally my sister in a previous lifetime? And then I'm telling the daughter, I'm like, oh, were you and your mom like buddies? Like more than you and your other siblings? Like, did that ever happen? Because you two were sisters before. So you can see, and then things make sense. So sometimes people will share those types of things with me, that they start to connect the journey of their soul to the journey of each lifetime. So some people in heaven really like to do that. Like they start to share their whole soul with me and not just one division of their soul that is this lifetime.
Thank you. That was interesting.
Welcome. How are we on time? Okay, we're still good. Now I'm all blubbery now, but anybody else have any comments or questions or curiosities?
Yeah, the one I thought of when you were speaking, the last couple of questions was when a child says something like, my daughter Annalise is 5.5, but she still remembers my dad who passed when she was about 3. She'll say she talks about him all the time and misses him, and she'll say, I just want to go to heaven so I can be with Grampy. And she's really sad about it. And my response is generally, I understand you miss him and you love him, but if you go to heaven, you can't come back. And then she says, well, Jesus got to do that. Like, yeah, well, most people can't. Anything else you think would be, something that her little 5-year-old mind would understand that would help?
Yeah, children have no separation between heaven and earth. They don't separate from earth or from heaven really until they're about 7. So when a child before the age of 6 or 7 says something to you like that, for them, that's a very natural thing, because all they have to do is think it really, and they're there. They're already there because they're so connected. So for a child to think that she could just go to heaven and visit grandpa totally makes sense, because technically her soul is still literally right there. So one of the things the vision that came to me when you asked the question is my daughter, Marissa. When she was a little girl, I said, she said to me, mommy, I don't think I want to be around after 4th grade. I think I'm going to move back to heaven when I'm in 4th grade. That's the response that came. And so I said to her, I go, well, when you go to sleep tonight and like your human self is sleeping, you get to go to heaven. So you're going to have to renegotiate that with Jesus and try to tell him that you want to stay a little longer because mommy will be really sad. The next day she woke up and she goes, so I talked to Jesus about it and he said it was fine. I can stay longer. But you know, mommy, being an adult is really difficult and it's going to be really hard after 4th grade, but I guess I can stay. And I was like, okay. And then one day I give her a bath. I'm getting her ready for bed. And she gets dressed up in her ballet uniform and her ballet, attire. And I said, what are you doing, Marissa? She goes, I said, you're going to bed. What? Put your pajamas on. She's like, no, I'm going to heaven tonight because I really want to show Jesus my new dance. And I said, okay. So when your daughter, I understand what Spirit is trying to have me say. When she sleeps at night, her soul does visit Grandpa. And that's why when she wakes up tomorrow, she says, I miss Grandpa, because her soul already had that connection in the night. And that's why kids will say something like that, because when they sleep, they'll just have that experience and they'll wake up the next day and they'll tell you about it, but they might not, in their little human mind, they might not recognize it, that they did go there, you see? And so you can always tell her that. You can also tell her, and this helped my daughter a lot also, we feel a certain way. So all you have to do is ask her, when you remember Grandpa, what did you feel like in your heart? What did your heart feel like? And see if she can describe what she was feeling in her heart when she thinks about Grandpa. And in her memory, what did she feel? Was her belly happy? Was her heart happy? Was her, like, what things happened in her body, right? Because now that he's not here, it doesn't mean that his soul is gone, right? So she'll still have those feelings. She'll still feel him there. So that's a good exercise. I did that with Marissa also when she was little, because she used to see my mom and talk to my mom all the time. And I knew when she was turning 6, 7, that she's not going to see her the same way, because children, it changes the way they see it. So I asked her, I go, how do you feel when Nana's around? When you think of her and things like that. And she told me, and I said, okay, you might not be able to see her anymore because she doesn't have a body like us anymore. She's just a spirit. So you're still going to feel the same way. So look for the feeling. And when the feeling comes, you know that you're having a visit in your spirit with that person in heaven. And children seem to accept that, and they don't seem to struggle. We as the adults struggle with that, but children don't struggle with that concept. They kind of get it. And so that could also help. Another thing that works really well with children is, let's see how Grandpa talks to us. So why don't we ask him for a sign?
That's a great idea.
Say, why don't we ask him for a sign? And then maybe have her pick a sign, and wait 3 days and see if that sign doesn't show itself.
Yeah.
And if she says, I think that's a sign, if she sees something that she thinks is a sign, that's her sign, attach it to your dad, he'll use it.
Right.
Also, she may be able to, and sometimes this works really well. I had told a friend of mine, she said, well, how do you know that the universe is talking back to you? I said, well, you ask it for something specific and wait till it gives it to you. That's it. So I said, so let's think of something. I said, so I am going to ask the universe, I'm asking God, universe, angel, your family, your friends in heaven, ask them. I said, I'm going to ask for roses. That's what I'm going to ask for. So I was on a session. That's my crazy dog who's screaming over nothing. So I asked and I said a little prayer. I said, okay, over the next 3 days, I'd really like to see roses. And the lady who's my friend that I was in a session with, she said, well, I'm going to ask for rainbows. I was like, all right. I said, so that means anywhere I see roses and anywhere you see rainbows, that's what we're asking the universe for. And she says, yeah. I said, all right, let's get together in the next couple of days and see if anything occurred. So I had, it was 2 days for me, but on the second day, I had opened an email, and the email was like from a florist. Okay. And all of it was like, hey, sale on roses, sale on roses. I was like, okay, come on. That's weird. And it's random, but it's weird. And I doubted it because I was like, okay, maybe I'm crazy. That's just a coincidence. Like, I've ordered FTD flowers. It's fine. No big deal. So I asked the universe again. I was like, okay, maybe I'm crazy, but did you really send me roses? Can you just do one more, just roses one more time? And then I know I'm not crazy. Oh my God, my husband brought me roses. I shit you not, it happened. And I'm going like, okay, I got answered. So then the next week I'm on the session with my friend, and she's like, I said, so how did it go? Did you ask and did you get? And she's like, yes. I said, okay, what did you do? She goes, so the next day it was a late start at kindergarten for her daughter. And her daughter comes down the stairs and she's like, her daughter was 5. So normally her mom told her what to wear, but her daughter wanted to pick her own clothes, and she came down in a rainbow dress. And so she got her rainbows. And so she did like I did. She's like, so Nikki, I thought I was crazy. And I was like, okay, that's a coincidence. Kaya really loves rainbows. So it's probably just, most of the things in her closet are like that. It's fine. It's not that. She's like, so they decided, what are they going to do before late start at kindergarten? So they decided to go to breakfast. So they get to breakfast and they bring the children's menu, and it has rainbow footprints on it. And she's like, okay, I was answered. And so we played with that for a little while, and we did that several times. So you can also, God listens. And sometimes he knows your petition before you ever ask, right? And so give it a shot and see. And if you can see that it works for you and you feel comfortable that it works for you, then you can share it with your children, right? Because then the girls will be able to be like, okay, I thought so. And that's how we go about trying to open that communication with energy, with ourselves, with our friends and family in heaven. I always suggest start with God. He's the one that's going to facilitate everything for you. So see where that connection begins. And then you can ask him to connect to your grandmother or your mom or your grandpa. And you can ask them as well. They're energy also, and they hear you. So if they can work it out and they can try to get you and help you to manifest those things, they will do that for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, we always look for cardinals with my dad and pennies from my dad, but I should ask what she wants to look for as a sign.
Yeah, what does she want? What would she like Grandpa to show her? And maybe that will be something that you guys will be able to bring in as one of her signs.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to hop
Well,
off.
can you ask her? Is that her with you? The one you're talking about?
Here's Gracie, girl. This is Grace.
Hi, sweetheart. Which one of the girls likes to make pictures in the clouds?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Lisa.
So you can ask them later. And if they tell you, then just send me a text, because I'm just curious. But your dad keeps showing me clouds in the skies and how they turn into pictures. So maybe one of Grandpa's signs is clouds in the sky.
You ever look for shapes in the clouds?
I see a bunch of things.
Grace does, yeah.
Okay, that you see that, honey? You see all the clouds and you make shapes out of them?
Yeah, she's told me that before.
Okay, so when we're talking about all this, and your dad kind of can't, and I know your dad, so I'm not going to go through the whole confirmation process because we're doing an Ask Nikki. But I feel familiar with your dad because we talk a lot. But when you were talking about that, about the girls, and we were talking about the signs, he kind of came in and he kept having me look up, and I'm seeing like shapes, the clouds, and how they turn into a puppy or a horse or a butterfly, like, or a flower or a house or a face. And so he said, you can tell the girls that they'll find me in the clouds, and that when they find those shapes, he's the one kind of making them. So Gracie, if you are seeing a lot of shapes and you can make shapes out of them, I think your grandpa is helping you. Like, I think he's helping you out with that, because that's what he started to show me when we were talking about how can we get to the kids. I'm so sorry because I'm looking at your picture here on the screen. So it looks like I'm not looking at you. I wasn't looking at the camera, but I'm looking at you. You're very cute. And I love your hair.
She's got great hair.
Great hair.
I do have to say goodbye early because
Okay.
I have tickets for Mamma Mia for
Oh,
the girls and I to go see Mamma Mia. We
oh,
haven't
I
gone
hope
to
you
live
guys have a
theater
great time.
since pre-COVID days. So
Yep. Have a great time. Thank you
so
for
much.
joining.
Nikki. I'll see you next month. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Does anybody else have any questions or curiosities?
I had a question.
Sure.
So I feel like I am at this point in my life where I am at a crossroad and I could definitely use some guidance from above. And I'm having a really hard time kind of quieting down and tapping into that and, picking up on any signs or messages. And I was just wondering if you had some advice for doing that.
When you're trying to seek your answer, are you sitting in a meditation and a prayer? Are you asking a question and trying to wait for an answer? How does that process work for you?
Through prayer.
Okay, so here's what I have found is the best solution to your question. Say your prayer, ask your question, put your intention, and walk away. Don't sit there and wait for an answer. Because when we sit there and wait for an answer, like if we're doing a meditation or a prayer and we're waiting for something to come into our being so that we can get that guidance or that answer, what ends up happening is our brain starts to question the things that we're feeling or the impressions that are coming to us. So it's actually more difficult for us to sit and wait for an answer than to get up, go about our life, become distracted, and let spirit pop the answer into our chakra system when spirit sees fit. So, for example, you could ask a question. Maybe I will say, okay, my mom is in heaven, so I'll ask my mom. I'll say, Mom, I'm going to do this thing. That's what I'm going to do. Could you give me a sign that I'm on the right track? And then I will walk away and I won't think about it. I won't dwell on it. I won't sit there for 5 minutes and wait to see if I have a feeling, because our humanity, when we're sitting waiting for the answer, our humanity is more dominant. And so we're not gonna trust the information that's coming, and we'll question it because, we're waiting for it. So that's a human thing. We're waiting for it. There is no waiting in spirit. There is no dilemma in spirit. There is no discernment in spirit. All of that happens in our human self. So the best way to find those inner guidances when it's difficult to sit there and wait is ask the question and then go about your life. Within 3 days, always 3 days. Within those 3 days, you will get the answer. You might be doing the dishes when you get the answer. It'll just pop into your head, or a feeling will rise up that will make you know that that is your answer. Don't argue with it when it comes like that, because when it just pops in, if you don't listen, you know that the next day or later on when you don't go along with that, you might regret it. I'll give you an example. You're laying on the couch, you're watching TV. Everybody's heard this story if you know me, but you're laying on the couch, you're watching TV, and all you're thinking about is the TV show you're watching. That's all that's on your brain. When all of a sudden a thought pops in your head and says, hey, do your laundry. And you're like, no, I'm tired. I worked all day. I'll just do my laundry tomorrow. And you forget about it. Now, tomorrow morning, you wake up, you realize that you need that pair of jeans, but crap, they're dirty. And what happens? You say, oh my God, I wish I would have listened to myself. Last night when I was watching TV, I told myself to do the laundry. I wish I would have done it. Which means that while you're humanly engaged in doing something else, your brain is on something else, your spirit can put that information right in your brain. Think about the things when you find yourself saying, oh, I knew it. I wish I would have listened to myself. Well, what self are you talking about? Wasn't yourself watching TV? Or wasn't yourself washing the dishes? Or wasn't yourself, getting ready for bed when this thought came to you? This is how you know that that guidance is authentic, because you're not focused on it at that time. You're not concentrating on it. You're not able to tell yourself any stories about it because of that reason. See? So if you are seeking that inner guidance and you're caught in that crossroads, try to put out there, okay, this is the direction I'm going to go. Let me know if I'm on the right track. And then you be open to receive that message. That message can come inside of you, like I talk about, a feeling. It can come as a thought that just pops into your brain. It can also come when you're driving down the highway and there's a big billboard on the side of the road that says, just do it. You have to be open to how that communication is going to come back to you. And that's one way of getting through those crossroad experiences. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Folks, I do think that we are coming to the end of our time together today. Again, this was, I'm so glad that some of you that joined, this is your first time with us and you're not part of our membership plan, but I encourage you to join. I really enjoyed everybody that connected today. We are doing this on a monthly basis, and next month it will be condensed to members only. This information, this work, this Ask Nikki session will be posted in the Ask Nikki membership web page, so that if any of the other members didn't get a chance to connect today or to be part of it, you will be able to watch it in that members area. Okay. Anything else from anybody today?
No, thank you.
Thanks everyone
It was
so
great.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks. It was
Thank
so
you.
great. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
you guys, for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So much.